Hello, 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 gorgeous ones. Welcome, welcome from Rosy Glow. How are you doing on this beautiful Friday? We are in some phenomenal energies, and I will be talking about those in a moment. I'm going to be exploring the new moon in Libra that we've just had, the equinox energies, and also the upcoming full moon in Aries, and how to make the most of these energies, especially if you are someone who identifies as a starseed, as an emotional empath, as a light worker, as a way shower, as a conscious influencer. You are in the right place. So just before I go into all of those things, thank you so much for being here. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do hit the notifications tab. You'll know every time I'm live here. I will also encourage you to check out the Facebook page Starpiece, Seeding the New Earth Narrative, because in case you didn't know, I started this little movement called Starpiece this year. And Starpiece is huge. The mission statement is a whole paradigm shift, if you like, in the way we perceive the world and our experience of it. And essentially, it is to move us beyond conflict, beyond the concept of war, into unification. And that is exactly what these energies are providing us with, the gifts, the opportunities to move beyond duality into oneness, to reclaim our sovereignty, to align with our higher self-consciousness, activate our divine blueprint, and be able to come forward as our divine human selves. Now, if this is all new lingo to you, this is what I do. This is what I teach. My work is to support people to unplug from the fear matrix, plug into the divine matrix, and learn to live from their higher self-consciousness rather than their ego wounding or their conditioning, which we all inherit from our time in the womb. There's no getting away from it. There's nothing wrong with it, except that we are wired to survive instead of being wired to thrive. So we are all wired to be adrenaline dominant, sympathetic nervous system dominant, until we make a conscious decision in this life. And that is the role of starseeds, to say, hold on, what else is possible? How else can I live my life? And in this way, it is about us activating our creativity to fully balance our right and left brain hemispheres. And this is exactly what the energy of the Libra new moon has gifted us, so that we are not effectively left brain dominant, but we are balanced, and the creative brain is the right brain. Now, we get all into trying to explain these things in a way that makes logical sense, but when you're activating your soul consciousness, when you're calling in to co-create from your higher self, your super conscious, then the journey is a beautiful journey of descending from the head, the thinking, into the heart, by creating safety in the body, so we can then download more of our soul source codes. And if you like the sound of that, then please do have a look at the text box for the different ways that you can engage with me and work with me. I have taken the time to create a little bit of an understanding around what a personal paradise is, what it means to be a divine human, and also what it means to co-create a collective paradise that I call Paradise Earth. Now, I've put that in the text box for you. If this is resonating, then you know that you are in the right place, and I am here to support those ready to make this shift, because that's how we're going to create the new world. We cannot create a new world from an old world mindset. It just doesn't work. The brain can only create more of the past. You cannot think your way into a new future, not a consistently new future that is going to be sustainable and regenerative, unless you go through this process. And there are different ways of doing it. For me, I offer a very thorough process through my program, Fearless, Loved Up and Free to Be Me. And the exciting thing is I have relaunched it as Fearless 2.0, and I'm going to put the link again in the text box for you to check that out. For those of you who feel called to do this work, you will have the amazing opportunity to have me as your personal coach if you sign up before the 12th of October. I have two wonderful coaches that currently work and support me to deliver this course, but I've decided to see who comes forward before the 12th, knowing that I will be directly working with them through the next 6 months. Normally, to be able to offer this, it's 10 times the price to work with me one-to-one. And in my small groups, it's double the price that I'm offering it for presently, at least, if not more. So this is a golden, in fact, diamond opportunity. And I am doing this because I'm celebrating my shift from working with what I call the builders of the new earth, which is all the therapists, the light workers, the way showers, the teachers and coaches and mentors of the new world, to working with the creatives who are the architects that are building the new world paradigm, the new earth, paradise earth. And, you know, we need all of us to step up as fully as we can presently to remember what our unique gifts are. Because when we're sort of selling ourselves short and doing things that other people can do, we're not fully claiming our personal piece of the puzzle, the paradise earth puzzle, our unique sacred gifts that we're here to share with the world. And my gift is teaching or sharing with others how they can live their chosen path, sharing their gifts with this world in the most graceful, easy, and joyful way. So if you like the sound of that, hit that lovely like button. Thank you very much. And remember to go over to the Star Peace page and join that too, because we are going to be going viral, my friends. We're in this process of loving up the whole world. And if you want a little taster of everything on Sunday, and this is going to be 11 a.m. BST, it's slightly too early, I think, for some of my friends in the US. But what I'll say is if you do decide that you want to join me for the workshop, it will be at 11 a.m. BST. It is called Co-Creating Your Personal Paradise. And this is like the starting point for fully aligning with your absolute excitement for what you would like to experience in this world. And something really magical happens when you take the time to do this. Most of us have some idea of what we want, vague ideas, but when it comes to it, we don't really access the feeling vibrational state of being in the space of having already achieved it. And in order to be in that space, we need some more clarity regarding what our personal paradise will look like. And I'm going to be breaking that down with you. I'm going to be sharing with you the tools that I've utilized over the years to get crystal clear on what it is I feel I want to experience. And that's how I have co-created the shifts in my life personally, financially, career-wise, real clear guidance on my soul path, health, you name it. It's there in a multidimensional way available for all of us. So the details, personal paradise in the text box, the workshop, and also Fearless 2.0. Get on, don't delay. You know, everything is happening in this now moment. And this is the energy of this equinox, is basically the frequency of chaos and clarity at the same time. One of my friends talked about, you know, this is a time of chaos and miracles. And I do agree with that, that when we are in the energy of this particular equinox, I don't know if you're like me, but I find equinox powerful energy. Like, whereas the solstices also have their gifts, these 2 times in the year where we get to see things in balance are phenomenal. For one, steering our ship in the direction we want to go in, and 2, seeing very clearly what's in the way. So more on the equinox energies in a moment. Let's just say until we have the winter solstice, or the solstice in December, which is summer in Australia, obviously in New Zealand, we are really in these equinox energies. The winds of change are blowing. There's a difference between the balance of light and dark. We're going into the darker months if you live near where I do. And this will be the time when we're tending to our inner world, so that as we come back out into spring and the summer, we can start to see the seeds that we plant at this now moment start to take root and blossom in our world. And that's the beauty of having time lag on this planet. You get to set intentions, refine intentions, reiterate intentions, so that you can really access the vibrational point that allows you to expand. When your energy expands, you radiate the frequencies that allow you to magnetize to you the experiences you most desire. But if you haven't yet cleared the subconscious blocks that are in the way of that, then this is going to be challenging. And that's why these new moon and full moon touch points that I offer through YouTube and through Star Peace are your opportunity to get clear on where you are and where you want to be. Because with new moons, we set intentions, and with full moons, we clear resistance on a deep level. The resistance that's come up between us actually setting the intention and then getting to the full moon. Now, if you haven't yet been on this deep dive reprogramming journey with me, you'll get a taste of what is possible through these events that I offer here. But the real like gravitas that comes from consistently working through a particular process comes from peeling back the layers. And that's something that requires some deep inner work. And that is what I'm inviting you into. So let's now talk about these new moon energies. Now, we've been past the new moon in Libra already, and we seeded the energy of being in divine harmony. I am divine harmony. Now, I talk a lot about the inner family. So when I talk about the inner family, I'm talking about the inner mother, the inner father, the inner teen, the inner child, the inner infant. And of course, we exist at every age that we have ever been through in this particular life. We have these imprints of different times in our lives where big things have happened that have affected us. Now, they could be wonderful, beautiful experiences that are etched in our cellular memory. More often than not, what seems to stick are the challenges, the unexpected traumas that have come about on our journey. And what we need to remember as starseeds is, as tough as our early life journey might have been or currently is, we choose these events to trigger our opportunity to remember what we have come here to integrate and resolve in this life. Now, you wouldn't have challenges in your early life if you are not already a master of those challenges on a soul level. You choose to come in, incarnate, forget what you know in order to remember it. And that is the joy of mastery, is that you can remember it in this life, even if you've forgotten all of your divine legacy, that as a soul, you have what's the right word? You have owned or amassed as a result of the different lives that you've had. So when we come to what was the new moon energy in Libra, we were getting this chance to see how much our inner mum and inner dad are reflecting our divine frequencies and how much they're reflecting our toxic parent frequencies. So remember, your inner mum and dad are going to be a reflection. Your inner masculine, inner feminine are a reflection of your parental influences. There's no getting away from that. And also there is then a link to how we perceive the divine, mother divine, father divine. So the wonderful friend of mine, Melanie Gillespie, talks about provider energy. And in talks I've heard her say in the past, she talks about the initial provider energy being the womb space, because we're initially provided for by the feminine, right? The womb that we grow in provides all of our needs. Interestingly, though, in our human condition, we consider the provider energy as a masculine energy. It's not either or. Nothing in this world of unifying is either or. And we are moving beyond right and wrong as well. So if we seeded I am divine harmony, and we've been working with having a sense of what it feels like to be in that space in our lives, where those things that have felt like a struggle to this point are resolved. Where does that then take us? Because we have to firstly meet the challenges of our own personal life to really be able to teach beyond our personal experiences. So those of us who are starseeds, emotional empaths, light workers, way showers, conscious influencers, we have such a strong desire to help the world. Some of us have this strong imprint around needing to save the world. And I want to help you, invite you to contemplate the perspective that the world doesn't need saving, just like you and I don't need fixing. Sit with that for a moment. It might seem really contradictory to what you're seeing around you, but we're all living our own virtual reality. Our perception of the world around us is a mirror of basically what we believe inside. So how we experience the world around us is down to our internal circuitry and wiring. It doesn't mean that things are not happening in the collective that are affecting us all. Of course they are, but how we interpret what is occurring and how we move through the challenges in the collective, whether we find ourselves surviving or thriving in the conditions that are available to us, is very much down to how we align, either with our soul consciousness and higher self, or our ego programming, our early life conditioning, which basically says, hey, see, the world isn't safe. I've really got to struggle. I've got to stress. I've got to fight. And it's that confirming of the early beliefs that actually limit us more than liberate us. So it's very important at this time to recognize that equinox energy, working with the new moon and the full moon that is coming, is creating a bit of a storm and a tempest to be able to uproot that which can't come with us. And of course, at this time, we have Hurricane Ian doing all sorts. So I really want to energize in the collective a calming down as required, so that we don't have to dramatize in the collective what we can let go of as individuals. Shed the dread, shed the doubt, shed the fear. If I said to you, and I am going to now, in our universe, the light has won. The war is over. It is now time for star peace. Peace has been declared. How do you resonate with that? Does it feel true? Or you go, but, look at the world around you. Are you crazy, Rosie Glow? I'm like, well, I'm not going to look outwards for this. I can feel it as a frequency. I can embody it. I can live it. And then when I encounter that which seems out of alignment with it, I know that the higher frequency always wins. So if I bring light to some density, the light is going to raise the frequency of that density. It just has to happen. So if I choose to be lit up, to embody my soul light, to live from the example of being a divine human, an ascended master in training, then how is that going to impact the world around me? Is it going to impact the world around me negatively? Or is it going to impact the world around me in such a way that I am part of the solution rather than the problem? And this is the kind of mindset shift that is required, the reframing that allows us to go from a mindset where we are divided to a mindset where we are unified, moving from judgment to curiosity. It's very, very important to develop this way of seeing the world, seeing through the eyes of love, because when you do, you'll see more and more evidence of the shift in the collective. I don't know how you feel, but although there's still all sorts of attempts by the what I would call powers of darkness, if you like, or our shadow selves reflected in the collective, to try and maintain how things used to be, to reign through terror, to reign through division, to reign through misinformation, through confusion. It ain't cutting it anymore. If you haven't checked out the latest videos from our wonderful Russell Brand, do go and check his channel out, because he's doing a great job. Whether he is controlled opposition or not is irrelevant. He is stating things in the collective now that a few months ago, a few years ago, were considered sea theories. And you know what I'm talking about there. They're not. They're facts. Okay, truth. Truth that has been hidden, that is coming to light. And that is the beauty of where we are right now. We have history, but we're expanding history to include her story. And in including her story, we create the story of the divine child. We create our story, because we are here now to live as our divine human selves, to operate from our inner divinity, not from our wounding. Now, this is a very important message for creatives, okay? So those of you who are creating stuff in this world, when I say stuff, it could be artwork, it could be entertainment, it could be products, it could be programs, it could be anything that you are personally putting together, you are inspired to put out into this world. I'm going to ask you the question: are you operating from your wounding, from your unprocessed pain? And what you create is your catharsis, if you like. It is your way of being able to transmute that pain, bring it to the surface and allow it to shift. Or are you creating from your higher self-consciousness, your soul consciousness, divinely inspired in such a way that there is true excitement and joy in what you create? It's really important, because anything that's going out in the collective is amplified. So if we are utilizing our creativity and our art, if you like, because I do believe life imitates art, if we're using it to transmute pain in our bodies, we're bringing it out into the collective. And if we don't really know how to work with that, what we can end up doing is amplifying the pain. Now, that has been a way of us being able to learn and grow. Think back 2020, 2021, we've been going through a massive terror and fear detox. At this present time, for me, I'm looking around going, same old story getting played out, but I'm not getting bought into it. I'm not buying into it energetically. It's not affecting me. Now, if it doesn't affect you, it loses its power, right? So it doesn't matter whether they're still doing it. What matters is it doesn't affect us in such a way that we're being controlled and manipulated by it. So we have come to a point in our time where you only have to think critically to be considered someone who's anti whatever's going on, and therefore not here for the collective, for the greater good. And that is utter BS, which, as Bruce Lipton says, is a belief system. Now, let's come back to the new moon energy. So, new moon energy, Libra, equinox, full moon energy in Aries. As we come to this full moon in Aries, this is when we get to clear up the resistance of being in alignment with our divine human mother, father, feminine, masculine energy. In simple terms, whatever you seeded with the new moon co-creation, if you haven't done it yet, I'll put the link for that as well so you can participate. It's really beautiful. Then whatever you seeded now in this time period leading up to the full moon, your resistance to it will come up. So let's just say, for example, that we seeded the intention of the divine harmony in our lives, meaning we have plenty of resource. We have plenty of love, plenty of time, plenty of money, plenty of opportunities, this idea of plenty beyond just enough. Then what's going to come up now is the stories we were told about ourselves and about life that actually cut us off from having or experiencing plenty of whatever it is we want. So the prime thing that's come up for me is you're so greedy, the greed wound. And this brings us into a conversation about money. Now, for many beautiful, conscious change makers in this world today, many who are very, very passionate about social justice, there is a huge issue with money. Money is seen as a dirty word. Money is seen as the root of all corruption. Money is seen as evil. And we kind of push away something that would really help us to be able to gain more traction, because we basically look at the symptom and blame it as the cause. Now, you can take money away, but it's not going to take the issues of living in a lack consciousness, which means we never feel we have enough, which means by virtue of that, we are greedy. We want more because however much we have, it's not enough. So part of my work is neutralizing our relationship with money, neutralizing our relationship with resource. So it's not seen as a negative. It is seen as neutral and can be used for the greater good, the highest good, I will say, or it can be used for our detriment. It's down to us what we're going to energize. Now, money is a form of energy. So is your focus. So is your attention. So what you focus on grows, right? That's what we're told. However, this is the interesting conundrum. When we're thinking, trying to find solutions, wondering, thinking, what happens is our subconscious programs are in full swing. So in our thinking time, we're actually operating our conditioning. And if our conditioning is lack-based, which it is for most of us, right? It's so rare you're going to meet someone who was born with a thriving mindset, was cultivated in a thriving womb, was taught how to be able to thrive in a world that is wired to survive. It is very, very rare. So if we go with the generalization that the majority of us have been wired to survive, therefore, we are going to be in some form of lack consciousness. Now, this is important before we go into the full moon energy in Aries, because we need resource, we need energy, we need power, if you like, and we need to know that we're not going to abuse that power. Any of us who are here as conscious change makers know the effects of abusing our power. So we're very conscientious, very cautious about becoming more empowered and powerful. We don't want to abuse that power. And that's why it is essential that we put our higher self in control. We put our soul in control, higher self, for me, same thing here. We put our soul in control and we surrender control to our soul. And we utilize our desire in such a way that it is our inspiration, and we surrender our desire to the very highest good of all. Now, the details of this is what I teach, so I'm just going to skim over it now. It's important as you're listening to be aware of where for you, you're seeking to thrive, but you are still operating from a lack mindset, a struggle and stress mindset, because that's where you'll see the misinformation, the misalignment that isn't bringing to you what you desire. So let's come back to this full moon energy. Now, Aries is the first sign in the astrological zodiac. So it is essentially the newborn, the infant. Now, if you know what newborn babies are like, they basically tell you through their crying what they want. Now, you can become more perceptive as a parent and learn to actually read their cues. So whether they're interested in engaging or averting, whether they're overstimulated or understimulated, you can even hear the pre-cries before they go into a full cry and learn to tune in to whether they're hungry, in pain, whether they need comforting, whether they've got gas, whether I can't remember what the other one is, but there's 5 or 6 different pre-cries, and you can learn to tune into those. Now, why do I say this? Because learning more about what it is we feel we need is very important. What do you need? Why do you feel you need that? What do you want? Why do you feel you want that? Just saying I want this because then I'll never feel this or whatever, that's not going to get you what you want. We need to dig a little deeper. Hence why my personal paradise workshop has been created. So with the infant Aries, babies basically command what they want. Okay, babies go, "Ma, I'm hungry. Ma, I need picking up. Ma, I'm scared." And we respond to those cries. We are programmed to respond to them. And in days of old, we would very quickly quieten our babies because otherwise our physical safety would be threatened. Now, in this day and age, we've had all sorts of wonderful advances like control crying, sleep training, not making a rod for your back. So ignore your baby most of the time, put them on a timetable of feeding and sleeping and make them fit into your program. Now, this has been popular since the post-World War times, and there were reasons for that, but it has left us in a state where we've learned that what we need and what we want doesn't matter. Now, we either become more rebellious, more aggressive in our demands, or we just shut up. We say there's no point. I'm not important. And we also learn to be very clever at, now, the shadow side of this would be manipulating those around us to take care of us. But we have to create security in our bonds. We have to learn what those primary caregivers want from us in order for us to have our needs met. So we learn to smile. We learn to do the things that are going to enamor those that are looking after us to take care of our needs. But what happens in this process of our earliest programming is we are told things. We hear things that perhaps are not really fair, not really true in the context of a baby, but we take them on as truths and we live them. So here's your question. What were you told about you as a baby? Were you too greedy? Were you too needy? Were you too demanding? Were you too fussy? Were you too difficult? What have you heard about you as a baby? I heard that I cried all the time. I was always hungry, very demanding, needed lots of cuddles. What do they call me? Ian will say that, as my husband, I'm a very demanding person. And I am. You know, I know what I want. I'm clear about it. I've learned to not play games with it. Like, do you own what you need, what you want? Babies command. Okay, there is a difference between commanding, what else did I write? And demanding. Okay, commanding as your divine baby, divine infant, basically saying, I know I need this. I know I want this. Please give this to me. This is the language that I currently have. Demanding is slightly different, isn't it? It doesn't quite hold the same authority. Commanding, holding your sovereignty, holding your authority. Demanding is more like stamping your feet on the ground, going, I want this. So that's more toddler energy, right? So whatever is true for you, it's important to bring this to the table, because in order to create divine harmony in your life, in order to have divine harmony within your inner being, then you're going to need to know what resistance is coming up. What are the things that were said to you or about you that have left their mark, that you have taken as gospel truth and you're living by? You won't be aware of it. But say you want more money, but you were told you're greedy, then there's a conflict with having more money because you're too greedy. If you were told that you were too needy, then being in a relationship is going to cause conflict, because you know all about codependence, I'm sure. But how can we actually meet our own needs plug into source to receive the energy that we seek to get and gain from others. And as a result of that, be able to create from an overflowing cup rather than an empty one. That is the journey we are on. That is the difference between programmed human and divine human. The internal evolution of our inner family is a constant shift. Okay, it's all the time we are maturing and integrating and resolving the internal dynamics individually and as a collective. And that's in the world around us too. Think about your family members. Think about who's in the house, who lives with you, who leaves, how the balance shifts. All of that is the beauty of the microcosm and the macrocosm. So I'm going to leave this here, but I do invite you to really explore these messages you received as a baby in particular. Ask your mum, ask your dad if you can. If you can't, tune in and ask yourself, what do I know was said about me? What are the doubts I have about myself? What are the judgments I have about myself? You will start to discover these because they need to be reframed. And this is my work. When I work with one-to-one clients, I take them through what I call early imprint decoding, early inference decoding, which is pre-birth and early life, which activates their soul blueprint. Now, if this is something that you're interested in, let me know and I'll be glad to let you know more about it. But for now, the starting point needs to be clear as much as is easy to clear as possible. It's like having a brick wall that's really high and just choosing, first of all, to pull out the bricks that are easy to pull out. When you do that, then the wall can come down. If you think about dismantling the whole wall, it is overwhelming. So you start with what's right in front of you. That's why teachers like me, way showers like me, mentors like me are showing up at different levels to offer you the opportunity wherever you can currently connect with us on to do so rather than to do nothing. There is a term that is really important for us all to remember as we are awakening, and that is not to throw the baby out with the bathwater. As we move from being conditioned, we tend to rebel 180. We do a lot of swinging, not in that sexual context, swinging into extremes to then find our internal balance, our internal harmony. What is our vibrational set point? That is our zero balance that helps us access the 0 point field. And once you know that, that is what then allows you to really open up and receive more of your soul light, and therefore learn to use your power more wisely and receive more of your energy, which is more of your power. That will allow you to have more of all sorts of resources in this world as you learn to trust yourself. And the way that you learn to trust yourself is to look at the beliefs that you have taken on that are not aligned with your truth, with your divine essence. So, my friends, Sunday, you've got that lovely workshop if you want to join me. Fearless 2.0, join me before the 12th of October. Remember, you need to book a call. This is by interview only. It's not for everybody. So I need to speak to you to see whether you are a match for this or not. And I will be speaking to you personally at this point. And for those of you who are like, damn, yeah, I want to learn more about these early imprints, you can check out rosieglow.com for all our mainstream offerings, rosannahannis.com for my one-to-one work, and starpeaceconsciousness.com for the movement that we are all invited to be a part of as we shift paradigms from struggling to thriving. I love you loads. Thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful Friday. Have a wonderful weekend and enjoy working with these energies. The full moon world service, personal healing and light language transmission will occur before the 9th. Have a look at dates. I think I'm going to do it on Friday the 7th. Okay. It might even show up on Wednesday the 5th in the Star Peace page. So what I do is I invite you to sign up. It's totally free, but you sign up with a Zoom link, and that allows you to interact with me whilst I'm going through the process. The recording that you will receive that will upload to YouTube and to Star Peace won't include that Q&A. It won't include the conversations I have with you before we actually go into the world service. So that's your opportunity to have some connection time with me if you'd like. Remember to look out for the link. I'll put it here as well. So much love. Take care. Lots and lots of hugs.